I've decided to rewatch One Piece again, but with the fan project called onepace, and it took me about 4 to 5 months before catching up to the latest episode. For those who don't know, onepace basically fixes the original anime's pacing by removing fillers and aligning it to the manga. This would save 7,209 minutes, or 120 hours and 15 minutes. Because of this, I was able to convince my friend who was scared to commit his time watching an anime with 1,000 episodes. I know that some of you are against the idea of one pace and that it ruins the experience of first-time watchers. But before we watched it, I went back and compared the scenes that hit me and left quite an impression in the kid in me when I watched the anime for the first time to see if one pace did justice to it. I took note of the scenes where I thought it was still essential, even though it is not in the original manga, which is why there are times that we switched to the original anime, because some fillers are worth it and makes the scene even greater. For those fans that can't get their friend to watch One Piece, watch this video to guide your friends without ruining their watching experience. Starting off with the Romance Dawn arc, the first episode of One Piece is Luffy and Shanks' backstory, but they use the cut from the TV special episode. While the intro is cinematic, I wasn't a fan of the animation of the remastered episode, and thought there was a special charm in the original anime, especially this scene.
そいつは脅しの道具じゃねえって言ったんだ。
I recommend starting with the episode 2 of One Piece, which is the full edit of Luffy and Kobe versus Alvida. The episode 3 is also great, and they already did Zoro's flashback before he thought he was going to die.
死ぬわけにはいかねえんだ。
The only nitpick that I have here is that this scene is edited out in one pace. I really like this scene in the OG since it provided more context to Zoro's character and how much of a badass he is. If you don't care that much, episode 3 and 4 of One Piece is great and properly edited. If you started with the episode 2 of One Piece, switch back to episode 4 of OG anime to watch Luffy and Shanks' backstory before starting the Orangetown arc in One Piece. There will be a slight continuity error, but I think you wouldn't mind that much. For this arc, they did pretty well, such as for Shushu, and I didn't have any problems. For the Syrup Village arc, I think it was a perfect edit, since a lot of fans didn't like how long and slow it is in the OG anime. My friend really enjoyed this arc, and he was starting to warm up for wanting to watch more episodes. For Gaiman, it's one episode and there's really nothing much here. For the Barati arc, the best thing here is that they edited out the narrative of how Zeph lost his leg in the OG anime, showing that he ate his leg in order to give the food to Sanji and live out his dream. This was also a solid edit, and this arc made my friend cry for the first time during Sanji's farewell. For Arlong Park, everything was good, such as Nami's backstory and the walk to Arlong Park, except they cut out this scene of Nami's final talk to Bellamere. While I understand that this is purely original manga, this filler scene is really good and should be watched by first-timers. If you want your friend to watch this, don't watch the episode 10 of One Piece and switch back to episode 44 of OG anime. Slight continuity error again, but don't mind it much. For the next 6 arcs, which are adventures of Buggy's crew, Logtown, Reverse Mountain, Whiskey Peak, Trials of Kobe and Helmeppo, and Little Garden, are perfect, and you can just watch continuously. Although in the episode 2 of Reverse Mountain, while Crocus explains the Grand Line and reveals the final island, which was first called Raftel, the subtitles reveals the true name of the island, which is Laugh Tale. I was caught off guard since it was a major spoiler only to be revealed in episode 968 by Roger. Just watch the Reverse Mountain episode 1 in one pace, then switch to episodes 62 and 64 of the OG anime. For the Drum Island arc, I want to emphasize how perfectly edited this arc is, especially during Chopper's backstory. I rewatched the OG anime of Chopper's backstory, and the One Piece is much superior. Chopper's backstory in the OG anime consisted of 3 episodes, meaning that there was enough breathing room before fully getting to the end of the backstory. Chopper's backstory in One Piece is a 40-minute episode, and my friend couldn't stop crying because it just kept getting sadder and sadder, and it just keeps going and it still wouldn't end. He was a complete mess after this episode. 10 out of 10 would recommend. For the Arabasta arc, all I can say is, thank you for not using the 3rd opening song, which spoiled that Robin is joining the crew. Lots of fillers were cut here, such as the Golden Apple, Walking, Zoro with a poneglyph, Walking. For Jaya and Skypiea arc, there are no problems as well, especially a lot of fans hated this arc for being too long. It's not complete yet, so after watching the last episode with One Pace, switch to episode 182 of OG anime. After finishing Skypiea, I still made my friend watch the G8 filler, because there are a lot of memorable scenes here that are epic and hilarious. Moreover, it's a nice breather between Skypiea and the next big saga. Switch to episode 196 to 206 of the original anime to watch the filler. For Long Ring Long Land, Water 7, Eni's Lobby, and post Eni's Lobby, everything was perfect as well. They cut all the fillers in long rings, so instead of being annoyed of how long it is, we were able to enjoy the arc. Robin's backstory and Mary's funeral were perfect, and made my friend bawl out his eyes again. For Thriller Bark, up to Fishman Island, I think everything was fine, although some scenes lose its tension, just like in Rayleigh. Removing the collar in this one scene in Fishman Island is just weird to add a manga panel. So far, my friend didn't complain about anything, and he truly enjoys watching it. For Punk Hazard, nothing was truly worth mentioning here except they cut Smoker's fight with Virgo in episode 18 of One Pace, which can be found in episode 616 in the OG anime. For Dressrosa, the only big problem that I have here is they cut the Toy Soldier song while Kairos is transforming back to his original form and everybody remembers him. In One Pace, he is already standing up and it removes the excitement and hype of him coming back to avenge everyone. After watching Dressrosa, chapter 740 to 741 in One Pace, switch back to episode 675 to 677 of OG anime for Kairos' backstory, then go back to One Pace to watch chapter 744 to 745 for Zoo up to Wano. Everything is much better in One Pace, and you wouldn't miss much from the OG anime. Even though they lessened the flashbacks during Luffy versus Sanji, it delivered the same impact that I got from first time watching it. Wano is also not complete yet in One Pace, so go check out the Onigashima project after finishing the Act 3 of Wano in One Pace. Lastly, for the Egghead arc, go watch episode 1 to 7 in One Pace. Then switch back to episode 1100 to 1103 in OG anime. The fight sequence for Luffy and Lucci is much better in the original, since they cut Luffy's transformation to Gear 5 before fighting Lucci. After that, just switch back to One Pace and watch episode 9 of Egghead. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video.